Hello, everybody. Hi, it's Emily Price here with the Price Group at Keller Williams Realty. For all of you who are tuning in with us, we are live tonight, and we are so excited to come and join everybody online this evening for our live webinar, where tonight we're going to chat about selling your property in 2022. So we find ourselves at the top of the year, and if I know that myself and my family, we love to make New Year's resolutions or New Year's goals, or have a word of the year, all kinds of fun things like that set the intention for everything that we want to make happen for us in the coming year. And in the real estate industry here at the Price Group, we find that a lot of our clients and our friends and our family and our community, a lot of times real estate goals often come into your vision for the coming year. Perhaps this is a year where you're thinking about selling or making a move or purchasing a new home or beginning your investment portfolio or adding to it. Real estate is often a category of people's dreams and visions when they look at kind of a new chapter or a new year ahead. So thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for welcoming us here at the Price Group onto your screen, whether you're joining in with us from your couch or from your office, or we're happy to be able to connect with you in this way. So tonight our conversation is going to focus around selling your property in 2022. And I thought that what we would, on behalf of our entire team here at the Price Group at Keller Williams, we wanted to be able to take this time together tonight to address some of the questions that we know a lot of our clients, friends, family, community tend to have different thought processes folks tend to go through when they're thinking about, do I want to sell? Might this be the year I make a move? And so tonight, our purpose is perhaps we can shed some light on some of those questions that I bet you have floating through your mind. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at the questions that we're going to cover. So this evening, and again, I bet if you're just joining us live here this evening, we're going to talk about, we here at the Price Group are discussing, so maybe I'm thinking about selling in 2022. And so if that's a thought that is crossing your brain, you are likely to have some of these questions, if not all of these questions, swirling through your mind. So in our time together this evening, we're going to talk about, how do I even know if it's the right time to sell, right? We always want to do it at the right time. Nobody wants to sell at the wrong time. And so we're going to talk through that. And then, what is my property even worth today? I think most folks can understand that we've been in a fun and zesty, exciting market for a bit now. And so what is my property worth today? How much equity do I have today? A lot of families generate wealth through their real estate that ownership. And so it's always important, if you own any property whatsoever, it's always important to have a good finger on the pulse of how much equity you currently have. And of course, that's something that you would want to explore if you're thinking about a possible sale. And then usually when you think about, well, how do I even know what my property is worth? That usually then begs the question of, how much money could I make, right? What would my profit be if I did decide to sell? And what I find is with a lot of our clients, oftentimes it takes knowing that number. That's part of the information gathering process to then even determine for a family to be able to say, I think we do want to sell the property, or not right now. So sometimes just knowing the math gives you the clarity to help understand what's the best decision for you going forward. Another question that people often have that here at the Price Group, we are very used to helping people through this question is, how do I find my next home and go door to door, right? Because if we're talking about your primary residence or the home in which you live, yay, that's awesome if I can sell it, but I'm going to need some place to go. So how do I bridge that whole process? Well, you're in good hands, because here at the Price Group, we have a multitude of strategies and solutions that we can help you with and serve you with in that way. And we'll chat about that a little bit tonight, so that going door to door, we definitely have a plan of attack for you. And then, as people really start to kind of consider the idea about a possible sell, oftentimes, as a property owner, as a homeowner, you're going to have the realization that, I only get to sell my house once, right? You can't take your house and sell it to three different buyers at the same time. You only get to sell it once. And so, as any savvy real estate investor, which I'm sure all of you are, you want to make sure that property, that one property that you're thinking about selling, that if you only get to sell it once, gosh, don't you want to maximize that opportunity? So how do you go about doing that? And we're going to chat about that too. And then from there, if after the information gather and it's starting to kind of make sense in your mind that, maybe this is a good opportunity for me with my goals right now, I think that selling in 2022 is something worth leaning into. Then we're also going to kind of touch on what might your next steps be in part of this conversation this evening. So let's dive right in. And for those of you that are just joining us, we're talking through, it's just kind of like the preliminary thinking of, in 2022, do I want to sell my property? And if you know of somebody who's thinking about possibly selling their property, be sure to share this webinar link with them, because we'd love to be able to give this information to them as well, because again, we're touching on 6 questions tonight that we find most people ponder at some point in the decision-making process as to whether or not they are thinking about a sell. So let's start with the question of, how do I even know if it's the right time to sell? How do I even know if it's the right time? Because nobody wants to sell at the quote unquote in what they think in their head as the wrong time. Everybody wants to sell at the right time. Well, depending upon your goals and your needs uh, with your real estate transition, so to speak, the sale of your property, the move to a next, oftentimes your own personal needs, construct, timeline help to shed some light on whether or not it is the right time and to begin the process for what it is you're working to achieve. And we here at the Price Group, all of us at the Price Group, we serve as real estate professionals, real estate consultants, where we are not here to talk someone into selling their house or talk somebody into buying a house. The way that we help our clients in our community is that, again, we're your consultant. So we want to really take the time to understand what's important to you, what you're concerned about, what you're working towards, kind of beginning with the end in mind. Where do you want to end up? And then from there, we're going to help you figure out if your needs situated within our current market create the opportunity that is best for you or not. We believe knowledge is power here at the Price Group, and our number one preliminary job to start the process with any of our clients is to provide you with the very best and most accurate information, expertise, and knowledge that we can, so that you then have the information in a way that you understand it, so that then you're empowered to make the best decision for you and your family. And then we're here to support you through that as it pertains to real estate. Now, from the market condition side of things, how do I know if it's the right time to sell? Well, kind of real estate 101, when you think about the real estate market, most of us have heard the terminology of seller's market, buyer's market, and then somewhere in between there, usually it's for a very brief moment, you hit kind of like a stable market. So a seller's market is when there are more buyers than there are sellers. Okay. So you have a lot there. You might have 3 buyers for every 1 house on the market. That makes a seller's market, because in a lot of times in that context, what is happening is supply and demand is positively impacting the seller, right? If there's a lower if there's a lower supply of houses to choose from for the demand, which is the buyer, well, then the value of each house goes up. And so that's when you have a seller's market. So a seller's market is when there are fewer sellers than there are buyers. All right. A buyer's market is kind of the opposite of that seesaw, so to speak. A buyer's market is when is just the opposite. So instead of having fewer sellers, right, then there are buyers out there. In a buyer's market, you have fewer buyers than there are sellers. So all the sellers are kind of competing to attract the limited amount of buyers. When you're looking to maximize the equity on your property, if you can position the timing of that with your personal goals to be in alignment with when your market's housing market is in more of a seller market, that's when you have a really, really golden opportunity. And the way that our housing market kind of nationally trends on a 40,000 foot perspective is that if you kind of, I love to kind of draw this little graph. If you can kind of follow the line of the tip of my finger there, it's almost like a roller coaster, nice rolling path that goes up and down in the way our market cycles, because we'll go seller's market to kind of hit like a stable market, to buyer's market, back to kind of a stable market, and then back to a seller's market. So if you look at the data of our nation's housing market over time, and you're looking for trends and patterns in it, you would find that we traditionally go through one full cycle, which is seller to stable, buyer to stable, right? Kind of that whole S shape. It takes our country about 10 to 12 years to go through that cycle. So what we know right now is we are still more so in the seller market, in this part of it, in the seller market part of our overall housing cycle, because we still, as of today, overall, generally speaking, throughout much of our country, we have fewer sellers than we have buyers. So again, if your goal, if your primary goal is to maximize the profit that you could make in the sale of your property, well, selling it at a seller's market when supply and demand is in your favor will help you to do that. And so, so when you are able to connect one-on-one with a real estate specialist from the Price Group, we are able to give you counsel based on what the market itself is doing factually and objectively, and helping you understand where we are in that seller market, stable market, buyer market, stable market cycle. So you can kind of understand how the dynamics of the market are moving around you. And then we're going to couple that insight with, arguably most importantly, what is important to you and your family, you and your goals, you and your timeline. And looking at both of those, then we're able to craft a strong analysis to help give you one-on-one personal feedback as to if now's the right time to sell, or perhaps if it would be more in your best interest to wait for a bit. Again, if your goal is to maximize your profit, if that is the goal you're leading with, then our current market is a fantastic time to sell. Anytime you get to enter the market as a seller when there are fewer sellers than buyers, puts you in a good position when you're also coupled with a professional real estate organization representing you, marketing you, helping you find the best buyer, and navigating you through that dynamic market. It is the whole piece. It's not just the count of sellers and buyers. But that's how you would know. So that is the answer to that question. And to dive deeper into that, I invite you to meet with us. We're happy to schedule kind of a one-on-one preliminary consult with you, just to kind of help you kind of figure it out and make a plan that fits, that's in alignment with both the market and what you need. So the next question that people are always asking us here at the Price Group is, okay, so what's my property worth today? And where we are right now is that we are coming off of a 12, 18, 24 months, depending upon your particular local market. Price Group, we service multiple markets in different regions of our country. And most markets have been very, very zesty for a bit of time now. So oftentimes we're talking with property owners who have experiences where it's like, well, gosh, I saw my neighbor sell for X amount of dollars. That was surprising. Holy cow. I wonder I wonder then what my house is worth. And we're finding that as we crunch numbers and do the data, crunch the numbers, run the numbers, looking at that data for our clients, we are finding more often than not that price group sellers are pleasantly surprised in terms of what their property is actually worth today. So, if you even have an inkling of a thought in your mind about, I don't know, maybe I'll sell one day. Is 2022 the year to do it? I suggest that you hop over to www.whatcouldiSellMyHomeForToday.com. And when you go to that web address, again, whatcouldiSellMyHomeForToday.com, you can go there right now. Then you'll be able to, on that page, it will ask you a couple of questions that will then help us to equip you with that kind of preliminary market analysis of some general number crunching for you to give you a starting idea. Because of course we would refine our pricing estimate for you once we get the official grand tour of your property. But for most of us, when we're just kind of thinking about, does 2022 hold a possible move in my future? We're just really in preliminary thinking, just kind of brainstorming. And so if you're just brainstorming and just preliminarily, just for fun, let's crunch some numbers. Hop on over to whatcouldiSellMyHomeForToday.com. And we'll be able to get you some preliminary and accurate numbers within the next 24 hours. So be sure to visit that site and share that link with anybody who might be considering, is this the year that I make my move? Is this the year where this real estate investment that I've made in terms of this property that I own is going to really really pay off for me this year? So a good way to start that analysis is just to get some understanding of what is my property worth. Now, let's quickly, before we move on to the next question, let me tell you what is not indicative of what your property is worth. Number one, there's a website out there that has some helpful information on it. But one of the things that's not super accurate is when a website publishes things such as a Zestimate. So those, we often will have clients ask us about their publicly published Zestimate. And we find when we do our own number crunching, that our analysis, because we are local real estate professionals that are specific to your market, that really know your market, our analysis is accurate and in alignment with actual property value, which of course is then verified by appraisers later in the process. So that's not always the most accurate way to look for information. The other question that I often get from folks about, well, over here on this website, it says my property is worth X. And that's when you go to your property tax appraiser website. I know this is very confusing, and we could talk for a whole separate webinar as to why this is. But for the sake of tonight's conversation and wanting to get through a lot of helpful information for you, I'll keep this brief. Succinctly, your property tax value is not the same, usually 95% of the time, as your current market value. There's lots of reasons as to why that is, and I would be more than happy to chat with you about those one-on-one. But just to kind of help you understand numbers that you're looking at and how they apply to you, just know that that is not a definitive, strong example of what your property is worth today on the housing market if you were to sell it. So the best way to find out what my property is worth today, for the moment that you're in right now, is to go to whatcouldiSellMyHomeForToday.com. And that's going to be your easiest step, that first domino to knock down to start kind of figuring out real numbers. So from there, kind of the next question that we often get after that is, well, it's one thing to kind of think about how much is my home worth today, right? If I was to say, you know what, I think I am going to sell, for sale, here's my list price, X dollars. That is one dollar amount that is often helpful for people to know. However, as you really kind of start thinking through this process, what most people tend to really want to understand is, well, how much money can I make, right? Because when you are selling a property, That's the list price or the purchase price, what have you. But from there, you've got to factor in things such as any expenses that are associated with the closing process. You have to factor in if you have any liens on your property or mortgages, things like that. So, how much money could I make speaks to no, but really, what's my profit on the sale of this property, right? Um, in other words, when you're leaving the closing table and you have a check in hand and everything's been paid, any expense of the sale that you have, your mortgage has been paid off, your property taxes are paid, everything's done. What amount is left over? That is true profit that you're then going to take and go deposit into your bank, or maybe turn around and reinvest into your next property, your actual profit. And I find, here at the Price Group, we find that a lot of people have to get to the answer to this question in order to have confidence around, yes, I think selling is the right move for me right now, or no, selling is not the right move for me right now. So again, here at the Price Group, we're an organization of consultants, real estate professionals that are here to serve you if you have goals in the realm of real estate, whether it be buying, selling, investing. So our purpose is to bring our knowledge and our expertise and our experience to you to help you achieve any real estate based goals that you have. That's what we do. And no two clients are the same. No two clients ever have the exact same goals. And so we don't operate in a way where our clients fit into a certain mold. We are a consultant, so we can bring to you the information that you need, and then we help you get to your goal in the way that is most important and most comfortable for you. We're here to serve you and get you from point A to point B in a way that works for you and your family's needs and whatever you may be concerned about. That's what we're here to do. And so a lot of times, again, what we find that people need to know is, well, for me to even think about if a move or a transition is in my future, I've got to understand the profit that I would stand to make should I decide to lean into this. And so, as part of being a real estate consultant, one of the services that we offer is we do complimentary both market analysis, which a market analysis is the fancy way of saying, what's your home worth today? The question we talked about previously. And then we also do complimentary, what we call seller net profit sheets, which are the fancy kind of lingo way of saying, here's how much money you could make. All right. So if you're in the stage of the game where you're like, if the dollars were such that it was a great opportunity, well, then yes, then probably what you want to know first is, where are those dollars aligning for you in your situation? And so let us help you gather that information. Knowledge is power. We want to equip you with the information, and then we want to help support you from that point forward, and however you want to apply that information to whether you want to make a move or whether you don't. And so the best way that you could figure out starting tonight, if you're like, you know what, I would be really curious to know how much profit I could make if I sold this property, hop on over to www.howmuchmoneycanimake.com. Again, that's www. Did I say that? www. There we go. Howmuchmoneycanimake.com. And if you hop over to that website right now, it's going to ask you a couple quick questions that will help to give my team and I the information that we need to be able to crunch accurate, realistic, conservative numbers for you. When it comes to working math for our clients, we are conservative because if there is a surprise, we want it to be a really great surprise for you. So we're going to ask you thorough questions so we can get you thorough and accurate information, and then you're empowered and equipped to figure out what you want to do from there. But you got to have the information first. So howmuchmoneycanimake.com. If you hop over that website, you'll be able to find out. So if you're just joining in with us, I'm Emily Price with the Price Group at Keller Williams. And tonight we're coming at you live with our first webinar of 2022 as real estate professionals, as real estate consultants here at the Price Group. One of the ways that we're different from other real estate agents in our industry is that we do not act and serve first and foremost as a salesperson. We Our role, our organization, our company is developed around the mission of serving as your real estate trusted professional, as your real estate consultant. We are here to support you and serve you. In fact, our entire company operates with the promise to each and every client: 5-star service, every client, every time. So if you're joining in with me right now as we're running this live webinar, our conversation tonight is, might I want to sell my house in 2022? I don't know. I don't know. So we're going over some common questions that people have when they're on the journey to even making the decision about whether or not they want to lean into a sale or not. So the next question that we're going to cover as we continue through is oftentimes then what comes next after we kind of crunch numbers and we go from, the first question we covered in tonight's conversation was, how do I even know if it's a good time? We look at the market, we look at your personal needs and goals, and we assess, and we help you understand that. And then from there it goes into, well, what is my house even worth? And so we gather information and complete a professional market analysis for you. It's a complimentary service, by the way, no strings attached. So you can request yours tonight, no worries. And that helps us to understand what today's market value of your property is. And then from there, the next question tends to be, okay, well, if I could sell my house for X, how much money am I really going to make? I mean, after I pay off my mortgage, after I pay my closing cost, broker fees, like what is, after all the expenses of doing business, because there's always expenses of doing business, but after the expenses of doing business are done, then what's my profit left that I'm going to put into the bank or buy my next property with, or whatever you're going to do with that cash flow that your really smart real estate investment made for you, right? Real estate is such an awesome wealth generator for families in our country, because not only does it fulfill a basic need of providing shelter and putting a roof over our heads, right? It also provides an emotional need, or for a lot of us, of when we're talking about residential real estate, of being an environment in which we live our life and live out our dreams and all of that from the emotional side. But then from a financial side, it is such a generator of wealth, because you can invest in real estate, and chances are when you go to sell it, generally speaking, overall, and especially in this market, you generally stand to make a profit on that investment, to make a profit on the money that you previously invested when you bought the property. So after we kind of analyze all of that with you, then the next questions that tend to come up is, okay, but well, if we kind of hop back to that question real quick, kind of still kind of going on to that question, the next question is kind of, well, how do I find my next home though and go door to door? Because if we're talking about, if you're an investor and you're talking about selling an investment property, this is a fantastic time. Your process is, it's a fantastic time. Supply and demand is in your favor. And when you work with a professional real estate organization who knows how to market your property in a way that finds you the very best buyer, not just a buyer, the very best one, so you maximize your opportunity, and you have a professional guiding you through the process in this zesty market from start to finish, it's a really good time. If you are thinking about selling your home that you live in, then usually that creates the need for a person or a family to say, well, that's great that I can sell this home, but I'm going to have to go someplace and I don't want to be homeless in the middle. So how do I put all that together? Because perhaps at this point, again, where we are and having, 12, 18, 24 months of zestiness in our real estate world, chances are most folks have some friends, family members, people from their church, coworkers around them that have a story or two to share about their recent real estate journey. And sometimes those stories can be zesty, especially if maybe that story didn't have a really super skilled real estate professional helping people navigate from A to B through it. So oftentimes it can feel like, well, yay, I get to sell, but how am I going to get into my next property? Especially going door to door without being quote unquote homeless in the middle. And the short end of that answer is to rest assured that when you are working with the price group, you are working with a full professional company, a full organization of full time real estate professionals. We do nothing but day in and day out help our clients successfully navigate through this market, putting all the puzzle pieces together, the selling and the buying and the moving and the transitioning. And so when you're working with us, you are getting to benefit from the fact that since 2016, the price group in the markets that we serve in have helped nearly 900 families successfully get to the closing table, not just start the journey, see it all the way through. And so the knowledge that we're able to bring to the table for you, we don't just have one way of helping guide you from door to door. We have a multitude of different solutions and strategies that we can equip you with uh, because you, when you're working with the price group, you're working with a professional entity that has proven results, a successful track record. And so part of the value that you get in hiring us as your real estate business partner is that all that knowledge that we've gained through the years. I personally have been in real estate. I think this is my 17th year now. All of that compounding knowledge just gets more and more and more valuable when you get to benefit from it, right? And so you get to have all of that at your fingertips. And what's important to know is kind of back to what we were talking about at the beginning. How do I know if it's the right time to move? Well, there's an analysis of the market and black and white objective data, but there's also an analysis of what are you and your family trying to make happen, wanting to make happen. What's important to you? What are you concerned about? What are you nervous about? Where do you see high risk? Where do you see low risk? And what do you want to avoid? What do you feel comfortable with? As your real estate consultant, as we learn all of that, we're going to put a whole plan together for you. This is the same situation here. The different strategies and different tactics and different plan of attacks that we can bring to the table to help you make your full kind of A to B plan. I sell here and I move here, and I do so in a way where I feel good about the process going door to door. I do so in a way where I feel good about the profit that I'm making on the sale of my current house and excited about what I am choosing to invest in or afford on my new house. All that entire 360-degree analysis, that is what our consulting services do for you. So if what is holding you back right now from leaning in is to say, yeah, I know it'd be probably great and fun as a seller right now, but I'm really unsure, or I'm really nervous about how the whole process would piece together, because if I'm a seller, I'm going to have to be a buyer. If you think like that, which is most everybody's situation. What I want you to do is I would encourage you to hop over to the website, WeMakeThePlanForYou.com. Okay. And let me give that to you again. And I think it's also up on your screen. WeMakeThePlanForYou.com. Okay. So if you're just sitting on your couch tonight, if you've got your day all wrapped up, and you've had a big day and your brain is getting tired, but you're like, oh, I really do want to sell. I don't want to be in this house forever. And I know it's a good time to sell. I don't want this time to pass me by. I don't want to miss out on it. Gosh, I'm just really unclear about how the whole process comes together. Hop over to WeMakeThePlanForYou.com. It's going to ask you a few questions so that I'm Emily with the Price Group, myself and all of my colleagues, we can start working on crafting some complementary plans and strategies for you that we are happy to share with you to help you find a plan of attack that you feel good about. So let me explain what we do in another way. I want you to think about like you're playing a card game, all right? And you have been, I can't find my words. You've been dealt. That's the word. You've been dealt, a hand of, say, 5 cards. Okay. So you're holding cards in your hand and you see your cards but the rest of the table doesn't see your cards. All right. And just because you have a card in your hand doesn't mean that you have to play it. You have cards in your hand and you're understanding what the cards are. You're understanding the context of the game that's transpiring on the table in front of you. And then you're deciding what cards you want to play. That's how we here at the Price Group think about how we are able to serve you as being your real estate consultant. We're going to deal you 5 or more really strong cards. So the analogy here is the card is the strategy. Here's one way we could go door to door. Here's another way that you could go from selling your current home to buying your current home. Here's another way you could do it. Here's another way you could do it. And here's another way you can do it. And as we're going through the cards, we're going to explain the strategy of like playing this card is, this could happen, then this could happen. Playing this card is going to point you more in this direction, that type of thing. So we're going to deal you really strong cards, like at least 4 aces. And we're also going to teach, explain, consult to you the wisdom and the strategy of how to play each of the cards if you choose. And then when you're in the game, when you're at the card table, you're going to decide which card or strategy you want to use, but you're going to be equipped with a handful of them because that's what we do for our clients. We equip you with multiple strategies and then support you in the one that you feel best serves your family. So that's a long way of saying we're going to give you options. We are going to help construct a plan that makes happen what you want to make happen. And the way that you start with figuring that out is going to wemaketheplanforyou.com. It's a complimentary service that we offer in terms of starting to construct a plan of how you would get from point A to point B. Because again, here at the Price Group, we're a lot different from our competitors in our industry, and that we're not here to sell our people on anything. We're just here to help. If you have a real estate goal, and the real estate industry can be, there's so many wins to be had, but it can be really complex and almost impossible to navigate through if you are not a professional in the industry yourself. Just as it would be really hard for me to perform open heart surgery on someone because I'm not a surgeon. That is complex, right? So when you're doing something complex that's important, you need to be in the hands of a trusted professional. And that's what we bring to our clients here. And we begin that service to you by simply consulting, and all of our consultation is complimentary. So that tends to be the next question we get. And so then after we kind of go through here's all the cards you hold in your hand and how could we get from door to door, then what we find is kind of the question that comes next is there's this realization of like, oh gosh, but I only get to sell my house once. So how do I maximize that opportunity, right? No one wants to take their one shot and blow it, right? Everybody, if you got one shot, we want to knock it out of the park. And when it comes to selling your property, you have one shot. When we're talking about a specific property, you can only sell that property to one buyer. Can't sell it to 3 different people at the same time. You can't reap the benefits of selling it to 5 different buyers. You can only sell it once. So what we find is really important for people to understand, especially when our housing market is naturally trending in a place that, we, as we talked about earlier in this conversation, define as a seller's market. There are fewer sellers than there are buyers. We find that the general public sometimes gets a little confused in thinking like, oh, this is going to be easy to find a buyer because there's a lot of buyers. And that, my friends, is where people start to get muddled in this process and expose themselves to unnecessary and often very costly hardships and or leaving a ton of money on the table. When you are selling your property, especially in a seller's market, it is not about selling the property to a buyer. It is about selling your property to the best buyer because you only get to do it once. And you're right, especially right now, there tends to be quite a few buyers out there, but you need the best one. You need one that is ready to go. The financing is solid. Their expectations of the current market is solid. They are going to be set in your real estate agent who's guiding you is going to protect you proactively in the negotiations of the contract to set you up for the smoothest possible success from contract to closing. And you need the best buyer, the one that's willing to pay you the most money per the conditions of the current market. So if you only get to sell your house once, and how do you maximize that opportunity? The way you maximize that opportunity is by hiring a real estate professional to serve and protect you, by hiring a real estate agent who has a proven track record of not just getting the job done, but getting the job done successfully and in a way that beats the rest of the market, right? Don't you want to be with a winning, don't you want to do it with a winning style, right? Not just any old way, but in a winning way. And so how you maximize that opportunity is to make certain that you are entrusting this very, very important opportunity of selling your house one time. You don't want to blow it. You want to knock it out of the park. So you've got to hire a real estate company that has a proven track record. Here at the Price Group, we do have a proven track record. As I shared earlier, the Price Group itself, this business came to fruition at the now a little over 5 years ago, and we've helped nearly 900 families get to the closing table in that amount of time. And so what we do works. We have a very proven track record. It's factual, it's black and white, it's not a guess. You're not crossing your fingers saying, I hope it works out. And what we're able to share with our clients when we meet one-on-one is not only do we have a proven track record that what we do works, we also have data that we can share with you that shows you how it works. And it also aligns you to get better results than the rest of the average market. In the markets that the Price Group serves in, our sellers consistently, and we serve in the greater Louisville area, the Elizabethtown area, the Orlando, Florida area, and other areas. Our sellers consistently beat the market because of our expertise, our guidance, our marketing strategies, everything that we put into play to help you get your home sold. Our sellers beat the rest of the market average on list to sale price ratio, meaning that they're selling their home for the relationship between the list price and the sales price is a better numerical relationship than the average of the rest of the market. So our sellers, a succinct way of saying that, make more money. When profit's important to you, make more money. Our Price Group sellers also beat the rest of the market in terms of days on market. So the time in which we go from for sale to sale pending is shorter than the rest of the average market. And then what's also important that we'll be happy to kind of dive deeper with you one-on-one in your complimentary consultation. If you have questions about this, we can explain it more in depth. But the percentage of the sellers we get across the line is way above the national average. So what I mean by that is that our price group, depending upon the different local markets, we sell anywhere between 90 to 100% of every single listing we take. And you might be thinking, well, you better, because that's your job. I agree with you. We would never take a listing or help a seller that we don't have extreme confidence we can get across the finish line, because you are entrusting that very important job to us. But the reason that it's so important for you as a member of the public to understand that that's such a winning force to have on your side is that in our real estate industry, a lot of times business plans from different entities and so forth will coach agents to develop their business as such and to bank on or to plan on selling only 50%, half percent of the listings that they take. We sell 90 to 100. We have a proven track record that shows that. So I would just hate to see somebody who really, really needed to knock it out of their park with the one chance to sell their house, right? I would hate to see somebody fall in the hands of a weak agent in a weak moment and accidentally fall into like the wrong 50% bucket. And you don't even have that risk with the price group because 90 to 100% of our sellers get across the finish line every single time. And we have the proof to prove it. So I share that with you to give you confidence in that who you choose to do business with matters. And we would be very, very honored to bring our proven track record to you. So you only get to sell your house once. How do you maximize that opportunity? Well, I think you maximize it by hiring us here at the Price Group. But you hire a professional who knows how to get the job done and can prove to you that they have. That's how it's done. So we have covered a lot of questions here tonight. As we kind of wrap up our conversation, I think we'll conclude with one final question, which tends to be, well, okay, what are my next steps? What are my next steps if I want to kind of continue to lean into this, right? And so ultimately what your next step would be is that you would want to reach out to us, the Price Group, to schedule your complimentary consultation. We can do a full listing consultation or even a pre-listing consultation, whatever is most helpful for you. Even if you're thinking about, I don't want to make a move. My child is a senior in high school this year. And if we made a move, it wouldn't even be till this summer. It would still be very, very wise and smart and helpful to you to go ahead and schedule kind of that pre-listing consultation now, because very, very successful people who have a lot of success with their real estate goals, just like anything else in life, tend to be people that, plan ahead, take proactive steps to, set the stage to have a very smooth process. And so the earlier that we can connect to understand what's important to you, to help monitor the market on your behalf, and to make a plan and a strategy that serves you, the better your experience is going to be. So even if you're thinking I might sell, but it would be in the future, go ahead and reach out to us now. The easiest way to connect with us is at choosethepricegroup.com, and we can get that complimentary consultation scheduled for you with myself or another real estate or professional in our organization. What you can also do right now, which a lot of our sellers start with the steps, is sometimes as you kind of start thinking about selling your house, you're like, okay, now I got to get my house ready for going on market, right? So what is the easiest, simplest, most cost-effective way? In fact, I don't really even want to spend any money getting my house ready for the photographer to go on market. What's the simplest, easiest way that I can do that? Because let me tell you, I have 5 children myself. I work full time. A lot of my my clients are in the same boat, raising families, chasing down their own dreams, working in their career, developing themselves. And for most all of us, we just don't have open time in our calendar that's like, you know what? I've got hours I can just pour into getting my house ready to be sold. So we here at the Price Group, we understand that. So we have a very, very helpful checklist that is full of quick, easy, efficient, low cost or no cost, great things to do to get your home photo ready so that you can maximize the value of your home in terms of how it will be presented to the buyer, but also not have to carve out hours that you probably don't have in your schedule and spend any money. We here at the Price Group really love to operate from the mindset of, if you're going to sell your property to make money, maybe let's try not spending money in the process, right? And so that is the energy we like to bring to you to make the process as cost effective and easy and simple and on your terms as possible. So the best way to get equipped with that information, we've got a handy dandy little photo checklist we can send your way. A very simple checklist that you can kind of work through to kind of start thinking about getting your house photo ready. And you can request that at getmyhousephotoready.com. getmyhousephotoready.com. So again, that link is getmyhousephotoready.com. Just hop on over there right now, and you can request that information, and the price group will have it over to you in the next 24 hours. And that's a great next place, or great next step to take when you're, again, even if you're just kind of in the thinking, brainstorming mode. So, for those of you that have tuned in with us tonight, thank you so much for sharing part of your evening with us. We are very passionate here at the Price Group about what we do, serving our friends, family, and communities as their trusted real estate professional, their real estate expert of choice. We really we love the opportunity to be a business partner to all of our clients, being their trusted real estate consultant. That is how we view how we can be an asset to you and your family in both your real estate goals and in the wealth that you desire to build through your real estate investments. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I believe that the next thing that might come up on your screen is our web address so that you can take that down. You can find us at choosethepricegroup.com, and all of the markets that we serve, you can access all of us there at choosethepricegroup.com. And we have fantastic business partners in every market in our country. So no matter what geographical location that you've got some real estate goals within, connect with us, and we will either help you directly or get you in get you in great hands so that you've got trusted professionals looking out for you. ChooseThePriceGroup.com. Hope to connect with you soon, and we would really welcome the opportunity to earn the ability to be your trusted real estate consultant. There's nothing we love more than helping our clients hit their goals that they have in the realm of real estate. So whether you're buying or selling, thinking about investing, continuing to invest, or you're thinking about new construction or building, or perhaps you're thinking about a career in real estate, or you have a career in real estate and you want to take it to the next level, all of those things, selling, buying, building, investing, and developing careers, we can help you with. Connect with us at choosethepricegroup.com. And with that, I will sign off for the evening. My name's Emily Price. I'm with the Price Group at Keller Williams. And thanks so much for letting me chat with you guys tonight.